Hi everyone, welcome back to Dave's World. I like just jumping into my videos. So what this video is going to be is it's all about the Jetta K04 swap and oil priming on the turbo. So in this video you're going to see that I installed the upper pipe and the lower pipe to the intercooler. I installed the what would be the air box with the elbow and everything, although on this car it's just the air box elbow with a cold air intake filter, and then I primed the turbo. So this footage was filmed a couple months ago, and what I'm trying to do is I want to finish this build series for everybody. I wasn't going to originally. I got a lot of feedback from subscribers asking me to finish the series because a lot of people are still interested in it, so I figured I'd still put everything up for everyone. And if you've been following along, on Monday you guys saw that I posted that I was doing the fender flares on my Corvette. If you're new to my channel, what I like to explain is that I'm always posting different things. If I post on Monday and then Thursday, then the following Monday, pretty much every time I do it, it's a different type of video. Sometimes it's welding, sometimes it's fabricating something, sometimes it's about a cruise, sometimes it's about my Corvette. You guys saw on Monday that I was in the middle of doing the fender flares on the Corvette. Sometimes it's about a Jetta. Hey, you know what? Sometimes it's about my Cobra. I have a lot of stuff I like to do. Lately, I've been doing things at East Coast Supercharging as well. So I just want to let everybody know there's always going to be something different on the channel. I don't like to do pretty much the same thing every week. I like variety, and if I like variety, I was hoping everybody else likes variety. I assume if you subscribe to my channel, you like variety as well. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to play the video on where I was with the Jetta. This was from a couple months ago, so now what I'm doing is just getting everything up so everybody can enjoy the rest of those episodes, and then I'll talk to you guys after you see the footage. Now this pipe does have one single 10mm nut right here. Right up in here is where that nut is located. So what we're gonna do is slide the intercooler pipe down from the top. Now it comes from here over to this area, and down here is where it clamps, and then underneath is where this quick connect pops onto the pipe underneath. We may actually have to go back underneath and push it up. Also, I took the liberty of putting this elbow on. This is a 2-inch elbow. You have to upgrade from the K04 to the intercooler pipe. You probably want to get a 2-inch to a 2 1/4 elbow. Adapt it up slightly, but a 2-inch is able to stretch on. Okay, all right, so that popped right in. All right, this is that clamp, and then there's two 10mm bolts that hold it. All right, so I switched over to rubber gloves. There's so much oil on this engine, it's just getting messy even putting a bracket in. It's funny, I talked to a couple other Jetta owners and they laugh at it because they basically call it protection to keep the engine from rusting, because if it's not covered in oil, it's rusting, which I thought was pretty funny. Okay, so I'm putting this bracket in underneath, and the bracket flips up on the top. I have to tighten that down. Okay, then once that bracket is put on, you have this clamp that wraps around the top of the intercooler pipe. Okay, so you see now the intercooler is now adapted to the larger discharge snout on the turbo. The next thing we need to do is install the factory air box. The reason why I modified this snout to fit this turbo was so the factory air intake will fit, and if you ever have to change the turbo in the future again, you know it's almost a direct bolt-in process. The air intake on this car actually has a cold air filter put into it, so it's different from factory, but all it's missing is the air box. So I'll show you how to put it in. So this elbow literally just pops in place. you would have a factory airbox normally, but this mass airflow sensor would be attached to that airbox on it. Okay, so I have a few little things I need to do. One of them is reattaching this. We have the blow-off valve needs to be reattached. There's, right here, there's a rubber hose in the back. That rubber hose I know went to here, so I need to cut this clamp off and reattach it. Oh, this went to the blow-off valve right here. And then this went to the wastegate. And I believe this just popped in right here. Yeah, okay. Alright, first thing we need to do is get this. It's basically a permanent clamp. You have to break these off. Alright. Hose off. This section of rubber hose goes down to the wastegate actuator. I always happen to have a collection of small clamps. Oh man, okay. And then I need to get the wastegate hose, I'm sorry, the blow-off valve rubber hose on. Okay, so I moved you guys over to a new spot so I could show you how to prime this turbo with oil before we start the engine. First thing you want to do is pull all of the spark plug coil wires. What this is going to do is prevent the engine from sparking. The other thing you want to do is pull all of the injector connectors. What this is going to do is prevent the engine from injecting fuel into the cylinders. And then you're simply going to crank the engine over for 30 seconds to prime the turbo. Okay, now I'm going to set you guys up for the first startup on this car. So if you're watching the video up to this point, I appreciate you sticking by to see what I was doing on the car. You saw in the video that the way I primed was I pulled the fuel injectors and the ignition system, and I just cranked the engine over for about 30 seconds. The reason I did it that way is I wanted to use pressurized oil to go through the turbo. You could do it with a funnel and pouring oil into the turbo, but then what you're going to have is oil coming out of the turbo while you're trying to install it, and it gets really messy. Sometimes it gets in your eyes, all over your hands, and I just don't like doing it that way. I prefer to prime turbos the way I did it in the video because it's a lot less mess. So yeah, you guys saw I started the car up. I have some videos coming up of me test driving the car. I believe I did a video on the ECM already and the air fuel ratio, but I might do something coming up as well. And then I have an impressions video coming up about the whole swap from beginning to end, and I think that's a very important video. I'm actually driving the car in that video for about 45 minutes or so on its last road test before my friend took the car. I took it on about a 2-hour drive before he took the car, but that video was about 40 minutes of filming that I cut down to about 10 or 15 minutes or so. I'm still in the middle of working on it, so hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff. I hope you do. And stay tuned. I have a lot of cool stuff planned for the channel. And have a nice night, everybody.